Oh, that's the shot. I can't believe I got the shot. Hey, what's up, guys? So my last video was all about this boxing event that I went to where I was just practicing sports photography. But during the night, I realized I was in continuous high shutter speed, which means I have to deal with this. Oh my god, 1382 photos. I guess before we get started, it would be kind of cool to discuss what my actual equipment used was.
This is like almost a 10-year-old camera using a kit lens.
As you can see, my gear really is kind of minimal and simple. It's a Fujifilm X-T3 with an 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. Throughout the night, pretty much the settings that I was using was probably 2/50th of a second shutter speed, and I think the ISO I was hovering around maybe 1600. Let me tell you a little bit about the gym setup. When you enter, the entire gym was well lit. It's bright, plenty of light. But this was kind of like a sparring exhibition, and so there was a ring right in the middle. And when the sparring started, all the lights on the outside, they turned it off, and so it was just overhead lighting. Really cool, but it wasn't, I guess, as bright as I expected. For the first fight of the night, I was shooting pretty wide open, ISO 800, and that's why it's a little bit dark. And you can see on the top here, there's a bunch of these LED panel lights that point straight down. So a lot of these shots are quite dramatic. I mean, you could see, right? There's a lot of shadows right here. Even at 2/50th of a second, you could still see there's a lot of motion blur. I mean, I think it just needs to be probably 500th of a second for something this fast. This shot right here, I actually moved back away from the ring. There was an audience formed around the ring, and I tried to go behind them to capture their silhouettes and shoot from behind, like a very wide angle kind of scenery photo. So that's why you see all these people here.
And I think one thing I have to kind of keep in mind and work on all the time, right, is I need to move around too. I feel like I can't just keep shooting from the same area, so gotta move around, right? Get different angles all the time.
I really like how this red gloves just kind of pops. And you could just see all the lights are just shining. And of course, this face right here is just enveloped in shadows, which just adds to the drama. And if you want to see right here, it's also f4 because my kit lens, if you zoom in all the way, the lowest aperture you can go to is f4. And I still at 2/50th of a second, but I did raise up the ISO to 1600 because I think from the previous test shots, it was a little bit too dark. And this man right here, he's the guy that organized everything. His name is KMACTHEGREAT. His program is called the Friendly Fade Factory, where he just runs sparring sessions in a lot of random places all around LA. The last time I went and met this dude, it was on top of Signal Hill in Long Beach.
Right on. Y'all don't want no problems. Don't nobody want no problems. All right. Stop playing with me. We in this motherfucker. Oh, hell yeah, dude.
So this is really cool, actually. This portrait of him, just a candid shot. A little thing about my camera is I don't really use the continuous autofocus. I just set a point and kind of move with my subject. So sometimes I'll miss a lot of shots, but right here, I don't know, it looks really cool. It's grainy, but still that adds to the charm of this photo. So I thought this photo set right here was kind of interesting. I don't know, there's some character about it, even though it's not the sharpest, right? It's not the sharpest photo, but it tells a good story right here.
If they solve that, oh my god, I would love it.
It's not the crispiest, it's not the cleanest, but I think in this kind of context, it still adds something kind of interesting. So what I'm beginning to see is I think 2/50th is kind of like the bare minimum if you want to catch the action. I think I would have been more comfortable at maybe 500th of a second. But then of course that requires, I think, much brighter lighting than what was currently available. These motion blur adds a lot to the image, right? Because motion conveys movement, it conveys power. And I really like these images because usually it's the fists that are moving real quick and the face is kind of nice and sharp. And it just kind of tells a nice story like this. It still has that feel, right? About you know what's gonna happen next. Okay, I thought this image series was kind of funny because the way we're positioned, you know, they're going at it, and so we're going, and he ducks a punch right here, and right behind him is KMAC with his phone. That's what he uses to create his social media, and it just comes out right there. Of course, he has his guard up, and then he peeks. This is a sequence that I wanted to cover. I thought that this exchange was the highlight of the night. If you know, in my other video, I talked about these two fighters kind of taunting each other. And we got the moment right here. I missed the part where the guy in the black shirt taunts first, but you'll see it in the video. Bang, here's a taunt right here. This is it. This is the photo right here. This guy taunted first, he reciprocated, and he punished him. So here we go. Here's a series of exchange right here. They put his hands up, and boom, right here. He tags him really clean, right in the face. That moment that I captured, I don't know how, because I was streaming at the same time. I was watching it while I was snapping away. But here it is. This is the image right here. This is amazing. This is so much fun. And of course, with the lighting being overhead, the cool thing about it, I guess, in sports is whatever muscle definition that you have, it just kind of makes it pop more because you got those shadows, you got the harsh shadows, which really accentuate and kind of sculpts, right? It kind of helps all the little bumps and the little, I don't even know what you call it, but look at his back right here. This is they're clinched together, and you just see everything just accentuated. His scapula right here, and it just makes for a much more dramatic image. Imagine if you're just shooting with a flash or something, or there was like a flash, like a direct flash, then all this would have just got erased, right? It would have just got completely wiped out. You would have an incredibly flat image. So this is actually really cool to see that just this kind of overhead lighting, which I don't really have much experience with. For me, it's all about using flash photography, but it's really cool to see just how much of a dramatic difference this actually makes, which is why a lot of photographers always say it's not really about the camera, but it's literally about the lighting. And you can see here in the photo, it's just these little panel lights, these LED lights overhead. I think there was probably, I don't know, there was a lot, right, to cover the ring. But man, especially in these type of combat sports arenas or situation, it fits so well, just because look at this image, right, of KMAC the Great. He's just right there, he's recording everything, but because the lighting's coming from overhead, it's giving that complete raccoon eyes, that's what you call it, where your eyes, because you have your eye socket right here and it casts a shadow. Normally that's not something that you want. It's not a really flattering look, but in these kind of environments where it's tough and punishing, this kind of lighting actually works. It just adds to the atmosphere, which is actually quite incredible.
Hitting the body bag? No, I don't. Yeah, I think so. Oh, fuck.
So one thing that I'm kind of noticing while going through these images is that I didn't change my settings enough. They all look pretty much the same. because they have the same lighting. The lighting's not changing. And because I'm streaming this at the same time, I have a selfie stick in one hand and my camera in the other. I'm not really changing any camera settings. I'm just focused on trying to time the shots. It's just the same style of image with just different fighters. Speaking about timing the shots, I realized during this night, when I first started, I would wait for the punch and then I would click my shutter. So then by that time I missed the action. And then that's when it kind of occurred to me.
Oh, it's kind of interesting. You have to kind of predict when they're gonna throw their punch. I think you have to kind of, or else you'll miss it by the time you see it.
If you want to be, I think, a really good sports photographer, you have to be familiar with the sport. Like, let's say boxing, for example. You have to know pretty much when the boxer is about to strike. At first, I was just looking at their face. But then, when I realized I was just being late, that's when I started looking at their footing. In boxing, they're always trained. You either step in, or everything just, it happens, it starts with the legs.
Look at the footwork, right?
No matter what you're photographing, to get that perfect shot and to get more keepers, you really have to be predictive. Imagine what's going to happen next before it happens. And I think that was the biggest takeaway for me personally from this night. Honestly, it was a really fun night to be able to try something new. And I think that's what I've been learning while I live stream. And so I'm looking forward to making more of these kind of videos and talking about how I made these images and kind of the thought process behind it. So I'll be seeing you next time. Peace.